It's my vocal warm-ups. Hey, Vic.
Happy New Year.
Woo.
We're talking about New Year's. I've had cold sores.
No, I literally woke up this morning and called me like a teenager, and he was like,
I was in tears.
should we just quit? Should we not do it this week? Look at this
I was
cold
like, I'm
sore.
not coming. Have you, so a couple, like,
Sponsored by Gummy Cluster.
1, 2, 3, Happy New Year's! Couple years ago, like, I'm going to say 2020, honestly, it might have been 2020. 2020 or 2021, this, like, college baseball announcer basically, like, ended their season and was like, and with that, like, the 2020 season has come to an end. And basically that year, everyone took that song and, they did like, and with that, the 2021 season is going to end. It's like, bum, 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 the Coldplay song. And they did a video to collage their
song,
year.
or each
and
picture.
of course, the guy who did it like went viral. And so now like he does it every year for videos so people can clip it.
You just get paid your whole life for making a sound bit for literally once a year.
In some ways it's annoying, but in other ways it's become nostalgic because it's like, because I just heard for the first time the other day, I heard like, and with that, the 2024 season has come to an end. But anyway, so yeah, it's like a viral song. Yeah, I can't believe you've never heard it. Oh, this is your first year being on social media.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I want to make one that says, I'm Willie starting Twilight 2024.
I didn't like 2024 at all this year. I'm
Willie
really starting like 2024. You know
By the
what's
way.
so funny is that
Sick.
it's funny what people will do, like, to get a video going.
At this point, I'll do anything.
Cover their face with cheese, cover their face with a piece of cake.
Who do you watch is covering their face with cheese?
I just watched one of those last
Have
night.
you-
Like, I don't like cheese dip. And this girl, and then it pans to her again. She's covered her face. She's like, I'm really starting to like cheese dip. She's like covered her freaking face with it.
I've seen videos that have like, because at this point, eventually you just kind of stop being surprised by how dumb or how crazy people are willing to be. But I'll see a video every once in a while. Like I saw one, it was like that, but it was a guy who was in his car and he had covered his entire, as much of him that you could see on camera was covered in Nutella. Every bit of him, like a thick layer of Nutella.
Was he naked?
And he was in his car.
Okay.
And so it was everywhere. And he was just like talking, like fully covered.
And now there's Nutella everywhere in his car.
Yeah.
No, I have one better for you. I watched this girl on.
I saw a guy driving a Honda Civic.
No, I watched this girl and she does like makeup tutorials in her car. She will take a whole tube of foundation, cut the top off, and squeeze the entire tube of foundation like all over her face, and then like rub it in with her hands.
Is it like that's really how she does it? Or is she being
I
funny?
couldn't tell
That can't
you.
be how you do makeup, though. Like, it's not-
No.
that can't be what you're
You think we're
supposed
buying
to
a
do.
tube of foundation every day?
She used a tube.
But like, you know, like those like L'Oreal tubes, like the
Yeah.
squeeze tubes. She literally cuts the tops off because they're like the little, pinched tops, and will like squeeze the whole tube of foundation into like
So
her
she
hands.
buys
And like,
seven a week.
well, I think it's because that's what she's been viral for. But like the foundation is literally falling. Like it's all. She'll wear like sweaters, like white sweaters and stuff, and it's like all over her clothes, all over her car.
Oh. Well, that's not like legit though then.
I don't know.
Like she's got to just be going
You know
for
what
the,
has
like,
devastated me
the
about
shock factor.
Yeah, and that's what's devastated me recently, I think the most about social media, is how many videos you thought were like people trying to be genuine and you found out they were just like screwing around the whole time. And you're like, what?
Like
Like, remember the guy from Australia we used to watch? The bald looking guy He was always like,
He was just right creepy.
yeah,
right?
and he was like, you catch my eyes at a library.
Yeah,
and he's like,
I was just thinking of him.
he's fake.
Yeah.
and
I know.
he plays it a little too well.
He
to be honest,
does.
because we all thought he was real.
Remember, it started out with him being like, my wife left me and she said I would never find anyone like prove her wrong. And you're thinking like, oh, this is sad. Like that's how it started. Remember, just like a couple videos like that.
Yeah,
And like you thought like this guy has, like something wrong with him.
yeah,
And no, this turns out he's faking.
yeah. And what's infuriating is that he's just smarter than the rest of us.
Exactly.
Because he had the idea to play this character,
Yeah.
and he played it so well that he fooled all of us.
And like he
It
went
makes me
on,
wonder if he has somebody in his life that's actually like posting that stuff on Facebook or
well,
something.
he went on a radio station and like stayed in character.
oh my gosh.
Like I think he's like full sell.
He's like, "Where's my
what
hug?"
if?
Yeah, where's
What
my hug? Oh God. That's a Brian. Hey girls, where's my hug? Get over here.
Oh my gosh. It's funny because I could never like
Hug a person.
Well, listen, people are always like, you need 12 hugs a day to be healthy. And I'm
Can I
like,
tell you something? I have never heard that you need 12 hugs a
Brian's
day.
like, you ever heard those facts? Like, you need 1,200
Brian's
hugs a day to be healthy.
Okay. Big hugs gotten to you, have they? What do you mean?
you can't tell me you've never heard that.
I've not heard 12 hugs.
I've never heard.
Okay, I threw out a number, but it's something like that. Like people talk about that. Like you need 8 hugs a day to be like emotionally healthy or whatever.
Why are they talking like that when they say those facts?
Because that's how they are. Okay.
Hug me.
Okay, it's not your cold sore.
I'm leaving the podcast. Cut that.
But I hear that and I think like I could, I'll give Katie a hug.
It's
Every
just
once in a while.
Like a side hug with a pat on the back.
Like, hey, so good to see you. Don't touch me though.
Like on her birthday, But people are legitimately like they're like research indicates that like if you're not getting at least 8 hugs a day, like you're not whatever, like you're not like emotionally healthy or whatever.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I'm like, I just can't.
What if you live alone in a city?
What if you're just not a physical touch person?
What if you just don't like people?
Bailey's like my wife, when she leaves the room, she like hugs me and kisses me. She's like, I'm gonna go in the kitchen and make some lunch.
Noah just made fun of me yesterday for being an Irish goodbye kind of person.
I didn't make
Listen,
fun of you.
I
I said that I value that. I would like to get better at the Irish goodbye.
We went to Chick-fil-A for people.
I think because
For
of
a
my
little
vocation,
context.
I can't.
We went to Chick-fil-A yesterday, and
I can't
all of
hear
us are
talking into the
together.
universe. Abby's talking out here. Hey guys,
We're all at Chick-fil-A. You're getting your drink refilled.
okay.
We walk outside, and I'm like, let's go. And he's like, we've got to wait for Brian. I'm like, Brian doesn't know how to get to his car.
I did it. I waited for you.
Like, Brian can't go to his car by himself. No, we've got to say goodbye. I'm like, we literally see Brian
weren't
every
gonna
week.
see him again
It's not
that
like he's
day.
going to go back to Chicago and like, we're not
We
going to
weren't
see him
going
for
to see
another
him
6
again
years.
that day.
Anyways, I guess I just don't understand that. I don't know.
You seem like an Irish goodbye person.
Big time.
Yeah, I don't really know.
It's easier.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's more about like ease as much as it is about just like I don't think to be like if I don't say goodbye to Brian, like he's gonna be so upset that I left without saying goodbye.
I don't know. I think it's just etiquette.
But to who?
I just want one more hug. Just want to squeeze
You're
in
a hugger.
one more.
You're
are
a
hugger.
hugger.
You're a hugger.
I give you a hug when I see you because you initiate the hug.
Every time.
Yeah.
But if you never initiated a hug, you and I would never hug again for the rest of
You think ever?
Guys, we're having interruptions. Hey.
The dog is moving. You know what it is though? Like, I think I separate the people that I'm close to the people that I'm not with a hug.
You're just emotional. Like you got a big heart.
Shut up. No, I think first off, I think we're both emotional. I just think I'm emotional in like a good way. And you're emotional in a bad way.
No, I think there's a difference
I'm
between
emotional and like I have a friends list. You're emotional and you have like an enemies list.
No, I think there's a difference between being emotional and being sensitive. Like I'm really I'm sensitive to environments. And if I'm at a funeral, I don't have to know them to still think about the fact that like they have sons and daughters who are going to live the rest of their lives without them.
Yeah.
Like I'm sensitive in that sense, but like I'm not emotional and sensitive in the sense that like if I left you guys at Chick-fil-A and like you were in the bathroom and I got up from the table and left, I wouldn't be like, Noah's going to be so upset today.
I don't think I'm going to hug anyone again. I think I'm done. You know what it is too? Like when I really love someone, I squeeze them. You know what I mean? I just squeeze them. Brian's like, I know.
Sure. Every day.
I'm pretty sure I've hugged Brian so hard I've given him spinal bifida.
I think it's spina bifida.
Spina bifida?
I don't think it's spinal bifida.
Is it spina bifida?
Let's find out. I actually don't know.
You know.
Also, we grew up in a very
we grew up in a
conservative
home
culture.
where our father said Alzheimer's
Instead of Alzheimer's.
instead of Alzheimer's. He said, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure that guy just got diagnosed with Alzheimer's."
I kind of love that though.
Not Alzheimer's, but Alzheimer's.
No, but like we grew up in that like when we were in like kids church and stuff, which I don't think was a bad thing. It was just how we were raised. Like
Let us reference this. We're talking about inside of a church. There was an event every Sunday called Kids Church, which was church just for
kids.
children.
And like we had a boys' side and a girls' side.
Yeah.
And you sat separate. You know what I mean?
Man, I wanted to work my way over to that girl
No,
side.
but I said that to say like then you got a little older and it was like in youth group, it was like you only side hugged guys.
Yeah.
And really
like, get in here.
And
Get into the teddy bear.
in youth for like some of us, like you really only like side hugged the guys that like you maybe had a crush on. So like as I got older, like hugging to me felt like a very like elementary, like I don't know, like other than like obviously my family, like I truly will say there are certain people that will bring out that side of me. And I don't know what it is. I don't know like what Bailey, Noah's wife for reference, will bring that out of me. Like I will hug Bailey almost every time I see her.
Yeah. You know what's weird?
And I
She's
don't know
that
if
way
it's-
with my wife, but she's not that way with her own brother. If I like go to like touch Abby's back, like, hey, how are you? She's like, she's like, don't touch me. I'm like, sorry.
I think it's people that I know, like, I think I don't feel like that's how you like receive love.
No.
I feel like you receive love more from being known.
Yes.
And like where I feel like Bailey feels more seen sometimes by me if I do a gesture for her that I wouldn't for everybody else.
Let's all just hug right now.
Let's all just grab hands.
What do you think? Like,
I always wanted that brother.
What do you think?
We'll have to get there.
We'll have to get there. What do you think is like what is the one thing someone could do to Brian that would be like I'm seen, like you've seen me?
I think I have the answer. Can I guess?
Yeah, go ahead. I don't have an immediate answer.
Okay, I feel like my
kiss on
answer
the
would be
cheek.
like if I was to show you like my true appreciation for you, and this will never happen, so don't ever expect it. But you one day get older, you're like, I don't know, in your 50s, and we're throwing you a birthday party or something.
Next year.
I feel like probably the most genuine way that you would feel appreciated is by like me buying you a gift that is so specific to something that you've wanted, that's like of higher quality, so there's value and cost, and I give that to you. I feel like that is something that you would be like, I feel so seen right now that you would even know that about me.
Like rainbow flip-flops.
Like a Mickey Mouse toothbrush that sings.
I mean, I do like.
I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying that's my like assumption of you.
No, I think that's fair. I do like good gifts. I usually don't really like. Here's what's interesting. I usually don't really like when people buy me gifts for the most part because
you have to
people
react to
don't
them.
know what I really want.
Oh. See, I don't like when people buy me like great gifts because I want to make sure that the external reaction is matching.
You're like, I'm literally not emotional, I swear.
No, but like I feel the pressure, especially if I like a gift, to make sure someone when I open Bailey's Christmas present, she's like
Like
what
on
do you
the edge
think?
of her seat.
Yeah, like come on, give it to me. You
Yeah.
know, and so I always want to make sure that like I'm matching the reaction of the effort someone put in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if
I
someone
get
puts
that.
in some effort.
I do get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no,
But
I like gifts that that match like really what I want, what I like.
Yeah.
So
like
that's
something
like the
intentional.
most way you think of being seen.
Maybe.
So I was right.
I feel like in that scenario though, I'm like 50. We're having a big birthday party.
Okay.
All I want is a couple cardigans,
A nice cardigan, a nice
couple hand
a nice
warmers.
new cabbie hat. I'd feel appreciated if somebody got me a good gift like that. I'd feel appreciated if Abby just wasn't there to be. If I'm
not there, it's Seinfeld's on a jumbo screen.
This is Brian's perfect night. I literally am not kidding you. I think Brian would feel the most appreciated if all of us put in a pot of money for him to go eat wherever he wanted for dinner, no matter the cost, and he went by himself.
You know what's interesting? So Abby and I were actually talking about this recently.
Oh, I didn't know you were friends. Do you text?
I think it was last time we recorded. I think you were somewhere.
Okay.
And somehow this came up, and I told Abby, I said, you'll find this really shocking about me, and you'll find this if you don't know this about me, you'll find this genuinely.
You really laid
shocking.
it out to make it very like quirky.
Well, if you know me and you know my personality, this doesn't like you'd think this is something I do all the time. It's something I've never done. I've never gone to see a movie by myself.
Really?
Isn't that shocking?
Crazy.
That is really
That shocked
shocking.
me. Yeah, that did.
You
shock
love
me.
being alone.
Yeah.
Is it just because? Do you think it's just because you're El Cheapo? Sometimes you don't want to go spend the money, or do you think
it could be?
Do you love being alone, or are you just comfortable being alone?
Do you love being alone, or do you realize that you're just gonna die alone?
There's a difference. There's a
Or
difference.
does nobody want to be with you?
There's a difference between like I go out of my way to make time to be alone. And then there's like people who it's like, I love hanging out and being around people, but I don't have to be hanging out. And then there's people like my mom who's like, I am like specifically planning my day around making sure that I have time alone. Do you feel like you're that? Or do you just feel like you're like comfortable being alone if given the opportunity?
I think it's that. I'm more than comfortable being alone. I don't necessarily like schedule that time.
Yeah, because I feel like you're a big hangout guy. Like, I feel like pre-kids, you'd be the kind of person that would like come over to like play games for like a game night and stay till like 2 a.m, like playing Monopoly. And you'd eat that up.
Yeah, it depends on. So here's the thing, because I'm highly contemplative, I don't really know how to pretend to be interested in something that I'm not interested in. So I think generally speaking, people who are like highly contemplative tend to get like more like hyper focused on things they're interested in, but have a hard time like engaging or focusing on things that like don't actually interest them. Yeah. And people like you'll joke about that all the time. Like you can tell when I'm engaged or disengaged. Because
the most awkward thing is having a conversation with someone else and me and Brian are in the conversation and they'll start talking about something and Brian's like,
but
it's like, hey,
it's not
come back, be kind.
And the thing is like my mind is genuinely gone.
Yeah.
And so you're like you talking about how like you picture me as somebody who could like hang out like late into the night playing games, whatever.
You made it a lot more mysterious than I meant it. Somebody who plays games late into the night.
Bat signal comes on. I call Robin. We hit the streets.
But like if I'm having a really good time with people I like hanging out with, yeah, for sure. You know, it doesn't really drain me. But if I'm in a situation where there's like people I don't really know, I've got to make small talk. I've got such a short window before I'm just gone.
Give me an example of a time where somebody's talked to you about an interest that you have no interest in. Because I feel like you're pretty good about just like chatting it up.
He really doesn't care about stuff like friendship, love.
Like I could understand
fun
like
things.
I can understand like something like way off brand, like I'm talking about makeup or something. Yeah, obviously. But like I'm talking about like for the majority of like normal things that guys like I feel like you're kind of pretty
but
always.
No, it's anything like if someone starts explaining like a job, like their job, and Brian doesn't care about that type of job, he's out. Like, what do you do? And they say, I'm in this industry, and he doesn't care. He's like, and he's gone. And they're trying to explain their vocation.
Or it's
to
like
him.
it's like say I'm hanging out with like Noah and like a couple other of our friends, and like they all have a mutual interest in like college football or something, and I don't. And they get talking about football.
Okay.
And I like there's not even a part of me that could pretend to be interested in that conversation. So I'll just mentally check out until they come back around to something that interests me.
Which I will say, which I give you mad respect for, because I don't prefer people who feel the need to be interested in what I'm interested just to like level with me.
Sure.
Like I'd rather somebody have a passionate opinion and hate it, what I like, than to be like, oh, like literally same. Like I love that. Tell me more.
As much as
You
it'll
don't care.
never happen.
Just tell me the truth.
As much as it would probably never happen, I would love if everyone just got to the place where they were like, hey, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
They come up and they go, hey, you know what I did this weekend? Don't really care.
Yeah.
But you know how many?
Yeah, I'm not going to remember. Don't really care.
But you know how many more people you would probably meet and interact with that did care? Like as far as like if people were genuinely like, you know what, I actually really like I don't want to talk about.
I'm convinced that we're not the problem.
No.
That we're the bad people in this situation.
I don't know. I think sometimes
there's
we're the
a
problem.
balance though. But like,
There is.
but here's what I tell people, because like, you know, my big thing is like, if you don't know how to say no to the things that you ought to say no to, your life is going to feel very dysfunctional.
Yeah,
you know?
you're
Yeah.
But here's the thing: when I say yes to something, you know 100% that I mean yes.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
how many times do people like, yeah, like I'll do that. Like they don't show up or they don't,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, I wish you would have just told me no. And I'm the guy, I'm like, oh no, I'll just tell you no.
Brian was the
It's not gonna
first
be
friend
there.
I ever had. Brian was the first friend I ever had. They'd be like, hey, like, what are you doing tonight? He's like, nothing. Oh, well, I think I'm going to go, like, see this movie. You want to go? No, I'm good. Oh, you got, like, plans? Nope.
just don't want to go.
I just don't want to do that. It's like, oh, okay. I
To me,
guess
that doesn't-
I'll talk to
me,
you later.
That just makes sense though.
Well, yeah,
totally makes
because
sense.
yeah,
It's just I don't know if because I've lived in the South for a long time that I don't have that in me.
It's
The
not
South-
Southern culture.
It's not.
No.
You're
well, I was
supposed
gonna say
to
the
yes to
South is
everything.
definitely like a more like I don't know what the word is for it, like a
polite.
hyper like it's a more dramatic version of that in itself. Like people can be very yes people can be very polite, but then like add the South on it and that adds like 50 layers of polite and nice.
Yeah.
Like we are overly, I mean, there's a reason why like Southerners are known for being like fake.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we kind of get that rap of being like, you know,
Yeah.
bless her heart, but secretly like we're talking crap because people don't, you know what I mean? They're not as genuine as, and I don't think that's like every Southerner. I'm just saying like that can be a running joke within like the Southern, you know,
Yeah.
community.
But I feel like personality wise, I feel like you're Abby, you're probably more like me. Like, do you find that you're a little bit like that to where, like, if something doesn't really interest you, or like, do you have an easier time saying no to people than Noah does?
For sure.
Yeah.
Like Noah would literally like in 2020, we were both living at the house and Noah would want to watch like 7 episodes of a TV show. And I would
Here
get
we
like 2
go.
episodes in and I would just like walk out and he'd be like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't want to watch this anymore. He'd be like, well, we were going to watch it all. I'm like, I can't watch this all night.
Here's the thing.
I can't do this.
It's COVID.
Yeah.
What
But
are you gonna do?
But I don't want to do that. I'll find something else to do, but it's not going to be that
She's
because I
gonna
don't
go
want to do
watch
that.
Gilmore Girls for the 12th time in her bed alone, looking at TikTok.
That's because that's what I wanted to do.
I'll tell you what I can be bad at.
Noah is definitely the yeah man, like we'll do that, and then never shows up.
I'll tell you what. Yeah.
Noah's the guy that's like, I'll be at that party, and then literally never shows up. You're like, what? Where is Noah?
I'm literally the guy that's like, I'm on my way. I'm not going. I'm not going. I'll be like, yeah. I'll be like, I'm pretty sure like Benjamin just broke his arm. I can't make it tonight. Like he's fine. He's over in the corner. Like I don't want to disappoint people, but I also don't want to be at something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to disappoint someone, but I don't want to go.
Now there are some times where I will make the
Sometimes I'm
exception
honest.
for the person. Like I don't
Yeah.
want to do this, but I love you and I want to
Yeah.
hang out with you.
That's what I was looking for out of Brian.
So I will go do it because I like love you. But
Yeah.
if there's 50 things I would rather do than do this.
Well, I will
Yeah.
tell you, because here's what happens every once in a while. Every once in a while, you say yes to something you don't want to do, and you end up going, that was a blast.
You find
Yeah.
out that you actually liked it.
And that was a really
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
time where I enjoyed this thing I would have never tried or did.
Yeah.
And you end up really enjoying yourself.
Well,
And so then you begin the battle in your head of like, am I saying no to experiences that I would actually genuinely enjoy because I think I won't? You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean, there's quite a few things I can think of that I know for a fact. If you asked me to do that, I'd be like, sounds like the worst thing in the world. Like when people are like, hey,
Like a
like
Tupperware
me and a
party.
bunch of friends are gonna go hiking. Hey, count me out every time. And
like
that
a
won't
good
be that
hike.
thing of like, I love you, so I'll go. Nope, I'll be home. Have a great time. Call me when you're done. But like Christmas Eve or Christmas Day,
we always do a movie, and I was like passionate that we would go see Moana 2. I've not seen it yet. Half of them have seen it.
No.
And so they decided to go to Mufasa, which I like would rather
She liked it.
cut off my feet than go see. But I just went because it's like, this is a Christmas Day tradition. I love my family. I want to be with my family. I'm going to go.
Yeah.
But there was a small part of me that was like, at any moment, there's the feeling of like, maybe I should just not go. Because I just did not want to see the movie.
Sure.
So like, there's situations like that where I just choose like, I'm going to be with family or love people over what I want to do.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I can
I'm
say
trying to think
no.
of something. Like, I'm trying to think of what would be the most, like, non-thing I would want.
To do?
To do.
Like the thing that you would just be like, no, I'm not going to do that.
I can't do
Like
that.
I have no other plans.
Drive 45 minutes to New York to go to a candy shop that I'll never be able to go to.
I don't have time to even get into that. Our audience doesn't want anything to do with any of your personal life.
I don't know.
Like
I think they want to see it.
I don't think they want that story. I don't think anybody needs that. You know what it is? I have it. I can't go to something where the whole point of the evening is to have super in-depth conversation with no lightheartedness.
Sure.
I can't go to something where everyone's going to be talking about their feelings
Okay.
and what they're processing through.
Is that like an invitation? Like, is there an invitation to those things, or is it like you just know there's a people group?
I think some people want to gather with you, and they only want to talk about like the deeper parts of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can't do that a lot. I have to. I'm a pretty like.
Or you can. It just has
I
to
hate
be
to
like
use
an
the term
organic.
shallow. Yeah, I hate to use the term shallow. I'm not shallow.
No.
But I think I
You're
appreciate.
just a party girl.
I just appreciate humor.
Yeah.
And I appreciate talking about fun things, and I like culture and different things like that. And I just can't like sit and talk about like here's where I'm at like emotionally right now or mentally.
Yeah.
Like I would rather jump out of a.
Yeah. And
Of
you're
a
not saying there
window.
isn't a place for that.
I'm not saying
It's just
there
that,
isn't
like,
a place.
it has
like,
to be.
Yeah, it has to be one part of the evening. I can't spend the whole
Right.
evening.
If we're not also going to eat and talk about the movies we're watching.
Oh
here.
my God.
So
yeah.
you're probably not going to come to my expressing my hearts party in February.
No, I can't. I'm not built for long-term, like depth conversation like that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
That's when I check out.
Sure.
Someone's literally talking about how like their marriage is on the verge of ending and they're crying, and I'm just like,
It was like first world problems.
I'm like, ba, 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 da, 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 da.
No, but here's what's ironic about the situation. In the same way that I am so quick to say no, very quick, I also don't feel like everything's that big of a deal. Noah is the opposite.
Oh my God.
Okay? So
Welcome to episode 7. We hate Noah.
no, my husband can be this way. My dad can be this way. So many people in my life are like this. And that is one thing that I love about one of our
Abby's is
friends,
different.
Steven. Shout out, Steven. So Noah's the kind of person that he will say yes to anything, but we could be driving down the road and we could be 5 minutes from a coffee shop, but we're going like 5 minutes in the opposite direction to get coffee. And he's like, we're not doing that. Like, what am I going to do? Waste 5 minutes of my life sitting in line for a coffee? Like, in the grand scheme, like, is it that big of a deal? And in that way, like, I'm always down. I have friends that are like that. Like, I have friends right now that I could call and be like, hey, like, do you guys want to go to Atlanta for donuts tonight? And they'd be like, count me in, get in the car, load up.
Yeah.
And I do like those kind of people, the kind of people that's like, really at the end of the day, like, time is not that big of a deal. If there's not like practical reasons why I can't do something,
Sure.
what's a 30-minute drive? Really, truly. Like one thing that I've done the last 2 years for my birthday, and it's like, if you want to speak love, this is the kind of love. So I love, obviously, Asian culture, for those of you that have watched the podcast, and I've always wanted to go to H Mart. So the last 2 years,
Can you at least explain that?
H Mart's just like an Asian grocery store.
But you said that though, like, you got it. Come on. H-Mart.
I mean, it's
You
a pretty
know.
popularized.
H-Mart.
Anyways, it's an Asian grocery store with like just tons of authentic like snacks and food and like different. Anyways, it's amazing.
Abby screams, pick me.
Then in like the side of it, they have like a huge like cafeteria type situation where they sell like Korean corn dogs. They have like this like very like Tokyo style, like maybe more Korean style, like photo booth. They have like they have like the little fish waffles. Anyways, it's the most fun I've ever had. The last 2 years, me and a bunch of friends have just said like, hey, pile up in the car. Let's drive the hour and a half, 2 hours and pop over to a H Mart. Have the time of our lives.
Sure.
And like, I love stuff like that. Cause at the end of the day, like what's an hour drive? Like traffic, lines, none of that bothers me. Being in traffic for an hour, like if I don't have like a place to go, like if we're traveling home from something and we're in Atlanta traffic for 2 hours, hey, let's vibe it out. We've got 2 hours of this. What's the point in like,
Sure.
Noah's like literally like 45 minutes in, he's like plucking his eyebrows out. I'm like, no, there's nowhere to
That
be.
is not
What
true.
are you doing?
That is not true.
So that's
I
the
can
irony
do that
of
for
it.
stuff that I like. Like there's been like sporting events that, sporting events, tickets are always cheapest day of. So like if a sports team is playing in like, Nashville or Atlanta, like, and it's a day of, like, I've checked on tickets and been like, oh, they're like $60. So I'll buy the ticket and drive down.
Yeah, but that's something that you want to do.
That's what I'm saying.
But like if like Adam, if Adam wanted to like go like get like a specialty hat or something from like a baseball player and the wait was like 2 hours, I could care less. I don't know anything about baseball, but I'll do it because like, what's the big deal?
This is Abby's way of saying she's just a super supportive wife.
No, like, cause that's what like I'm saying, because
Yeah.
you're such a yes man, you think that Noah would be like, whatever, man, like life happens, let's do it.
No.
But actually when it comes to inconvenience like that.
I'm not good at doing stuff I don't want to do.
Should I tell the New York story now?
It's so dumb.
Okay.
It's so dumb.
Let's have a comments. Guys, I need you guys to support me in this. All of our, I don't know what we call them. It's not chinophiles, but
It's
something.
chinophiles. you chinophiles.
So, over the fall, our grandmother passed away. It was very like sudden, and all of my family lives in Canada. So we decided to take a last minute trip to Canada. And I'm like, you know what? This is a horrible reason to obviously be traveling to see family, but we're going to try to make the most of it. We're going to be positive. We're going to try to enjoy our trip and just like, make memories and have a good time. That's what Nanny would have wanted. So I, over the last 2 years, have been looking at this Swedish candy called Bubs, I think. And
doesn't even remember the name.
Well, because I know the store is Bonbons. It's in New York, and they sell other candies outside of these specific Swedish candy called Bubs. But they sell a bunch of different, like, I think it's Swedish candies. So anyways.
But Bubs are the ones you were
But Bubs was like the candy I was specifically going for. And because they're so popular, when you go online, it's like ridiculous to buy like a small, tiny pack. And they're usually always sold out. So we're driving to Canada. It's like 10 o'clock in the morning. We've like kind of made it into New York. And I tell Noah, I'm like, there is a Bonbons like 40 minutes from here. It's in the city. Keep in mind, we arrived at our destination that day at like 4 in the afternoon. The next day. It was like 2 or 3 in the afternoon when we got there the next day because we stopped in Maine. Anyways, so like it wouldn't have hurt our travel that much. We maybe would have gotten to bed at 10 as opposed to 8:30. Mm-hmm. Okay.
No.
Yes.
Don't worry. I'll get it on this.
So we're 40 minutes away from this Bonbons. It opens at 10 o'clock and it's like 9:30. Mm-hmm. So by the time we would get to the Bonbons, it would be like just opening. So it wouldn't be like packed lines, crazy out the door. Like it would just be drop me off. I literally told him, I was like, drop me off at the door, do like a drive around of the square, the block, and come right back and like, I'll be done. I swear. I have the whole candy list of what I want. Like that's all I'm asking.
And is this candy that you can't necessarily just get anywhere?
You can't get it anywhere. I have Googled.
Okay, here we go. Brian's now helping.
No. Adam and I went to Atlanta and I was Googling like specific words like, can you find such and such in Atlanta? Does Atlanta have, I asked ChatGPT. I went on TikTok. They don't sell them anywhere. They sell one specific kind of like, it's the same brand, but it's kind of like a dupe because it's smaller and it doesn't taste the same. They sell one candy package at like one kid's store that we go to. So anyways, I told him, I was like, please, 40-minute drive. It's 9:30 in the morning. We haven't hit like crazy traffic. It's been a breeze. Just go the 40 minutes off the route and go get me this like candy. He literally, he was clutching his pearls, refused to drive the 40 extra minutes to go to a candy shop that I can't get candy anywhere else and just let me experience that. And I know that if the roles were reversed and Noah was like, there is some LSU store with merchandise that you'll never find anywhere. Like, I would be pulling over. We would be swerving to go get that because what's 40 minutes of my life to experience something that I might not experience because I'm not going to go travel to New York all the time.
Sure.
So anyways, those are my grievances, and that's on.
So if you guys want to donate to Abby's Make-A-Wish Foundation. So
let's hear the other side.
Here's the real truth.
No.
The real truth is, one, it's 40 minutes from our highway to it and 40 minutes back.
Sure.
So it's not 40 minutes.
It's an hour and 20 minutes.
It's an hour and 20 minutes.
Okay.
Second of all, we are driving adjacent to New York City, but not in New York City.
Okay.
Like, we're not going through the city. We're going like to the left of it. Mm-hmm. This would take us. This isn't like Cleveland, Ohio. This is taking us 45 minutes into New York City.
Okay.
And then 45 minutes back. She goes, no one's going to be there. Like New York City when people are going to work is never busy.
Nobody's going to work at 10 o'clock if they are.
No one's going to work at 9:30 in New York City. Like, that's insane. Everything must open at either 6 a.m. or noon. So she wants me to go at between 8 and 9:30 all the way into New York City, which is when people are driving to work. Mm-hmm. She wants me to stop at a candy store thinking there'll be no traffic. She doesn't want us to come in. She wants me to drive around.
I said you can come in, but if you just don't want to do it and you just want to stay in the car.
In New York City and then drive 45 minutes if there's no traffic. If there's no traffic outside of New York City, back onto our highway and drive off.
But I wouldn't ask him to do anything that I wouldn't do.
That is. And then, you know what, too? Here's the other piece of it. I've been with Abby probably now 3 times where she has either ordered a candy or has gotten a candy that she has found on TikTok through her Asian culture things. And she will get the candy. And I mean, without a shadow of a doubt, almost every time she goes, yeah, wasn't that good?
But you don't know till you try.
And so I was going to drive most likely at least 2 hours.
This is a candy, though, that I knew that I would like.
2 hours to go to a candy store when I'm grieving my grandmother. No, but when we're trying to get to Canada, where there's all kinds of good candy we don't get where we live.
Brian, what would you do in this scenario?
And let me just throw this at you, little. Are
you gonna add your kid in the mix?
I had a 6-month-old in the car,
and that's the thing. If he would have been like 2, I would have been like, we're not stopping. He was having a blast. He was living it up in the car.
He was going, candy store, take me to the candy.
Yeah, he was vibing. We were listening to
Brian, what would you have
done?
done?
The happy song. He was vibing.
What would you have done?
I see both sides.
I see both sides, but at the end of the day.
Because you can look at it from the drive from here to Canada is what,
25 hours.
25 hours.
Yeah.
So when you look at it like 25 hours, like is 25 and 27 and a half that different?
That much different.
Yeah.
You know, there's that. But then there's also the aspect of like we're already driving 25 is
freaking hours.
I see both sides.
Yeah.
I don't
Brian,
know.
Brian won't even go see a movie he doesn't like to go see in the town he lives in. You think he's driving 2 hours to a candy store?
But let me add this little nugget that I forgot to add. A couple hours earlier, so we pulled like an all-nighter the first drive, like the first night of driving. So we left Sunday night and we drove all the way through the whole Monday, all Sunday night, all into Monday, till Monday evening to get to Maine. So probably 5:30 rolls around. And I look at Noah and I'm like, I'm actually like kind of getting like a little more tired than I thought I would be, but I'm also not as tired as I thought I would be. Like, we're just talking about, you know. It was like, yeah, like I'm like super tired. And he was like, do you think we should just like pull over and nap for like 2 hours and then get back on the road?
I said.
That is literally what you said.
I said, let me pull over for like 30 minutes.
It was not 30 minutes. No, it wasn't. He said like about an hour, 2 hours. Should we just like pull over and nap? And I said, if you want, we can pull off and I'll drive.
My God.
And you can nap.
This
So
is
then
fake
we get
news.
to New York at like 9:30, and I'm like, hey, like we didn't take that 2-hour little like nap
I'm
detour.
going to venture to say this will be our least viewed podcast episode.
I don't know. I think people are gonna want to get in on
I don't
this.
think people. I don't think
I think
people
somebody
wanna,
vote. What would you do? Our friend
Would you have
Steven.
stopped at Bon
Our
Bon's?
friend Steven was like, no, that was ridiculous. You should have just stopped,
Even that would
man.
have been like, if we're going to be in New York City, let's go to Times Square. Like that's totally different.
But it was
Steven's
just-
down to do anything.
Also, too, like we always go. This was the first trip we've ever been on to Canada without my parents driving. So like I've been just with my dad, I've been just with my mom, and I've been with both of them. And then I've been with both of them without Noah. So like I've done different dynamics, but I've never been on a trip where it's just like the younger crew. So I thought like this is gonna like suck that we're driving for a funeral, but at the same time like we're gonna live it
Abby's
up because
literally
like we're all
like-
just vibing. You know what I
Abby's
mean?
building
Like we're
a
just here to
case.
vibe.
No.
Now, was there the day that you got there? Was it a Tuesday that you got there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Was there like a specific like you guys need to be here by
No.
this time because
We needed to be there by Wednesday.
Wednesday.
We need to be there. But like I hadn't seen my grandparents in like 6.5 years. And so like, you know, just getting there, we would have got to Maine. We got to Maine at like
Keep in mind, he was going to stay a week and a half after to
we
spend
got to-
time with his grandparents.
We got to Maine at like 7. So we were able to get a hotel, eat a good dinner, go to bed. We would have got there around 9. More stuff would have started closing. Might have been a little harder to get a room. It would have been a.
What is
listen,
this? Is this Bethlehem? There's no room in the inn.
And then, like, just imagine.
No, it's like
here's my
hotels
thought
literally
process,
close
too.
down at 8:30.
Just imagine you have a 6-month-old, and by freak chance, you pop a tire in downtown New York.
But you could say that about anything.
No, I'd rather blow a tire on the highway than downtown New York. Driving in New York City to me would be the equivalent of going to the Gaza Strip this week. Like that's what that feels like to me. Like the amount of chaos that must ensue. Like if I'm going to New York City, I'm like going by train. I'm only taking cabs. I would never drive
Okay.
a day in my life
Yeah.
physically to New York City.
Well, guys, place your votes. Place your bets.
Yeah, we need people to weigh in on this.
Yeah, I think I'll
because
win.
I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Think of your children. First off, think
think-
of your children.
If it was a child who hated the car, I get that.
No.
He was vibing. We were playing the happy
Think of
song.
your children.
He
Think
was
that we're
laughing.
16 hours in.
He's napped 3 times.
No.
He's vibing. He doesn't
I
know the
think
difference at
Brian's
this
not
point.
doing it.
I think having Benjamin in the car, I think I tend to lean towards Abby, but I think just knowing that Benjamin was in the car is the only thing. Just because I've traveled with
Yeah.
kids, and I know that.
And I've traveled with kids.
Yeah.
And when kids have a difficult time, it is awful. And
Yeah.
if he would have been like fussy or just like not having it, I wouldn't even have thought about it. But
Now,
he was
let
vibing.
me
I
ask you
thought
this.
it'll
He
be
was vibing at that point, but did he hit his breaking point at
Oh
some
yeah,
point in the trip?
in Maine.
in Maine, yeah. But it was literally we got to Maine, and I think we were just all
But
hungry and
that
tired.
breaking point would have hit 2 hours earlier.
But he might have not if we'd have stopped in New York and let him out to sightsee.
It's literally insanity.
Everybody loves a good sightsee break. Everybody
Here's
loves
the
a
thing,
good,
though.
you know.
The next day, and here's what makes it worse. The next day, they went on sale, and they weren't sold out yet. The next morning, she looked, and you could add them to your cart. Now, this is Abby's dream candy. Abby's candy that if it ever touched her tongue, would change her existence. And it's literally right there, and she's like, "No, I'd have to pay for shipping."
That's
and she
insane.
doesn't buy it.
$50-$60 for a pack of candy, and we're not talking a large pack of candy.
Apparently, because she would make a
Apparently.
17-hour drive. She was flying back and looking at ways to get out of the airport to go there, but she wouldn't
Yeah,
spend
'cause I
like
stopped in,
$60 to buy them.
Did you have a layover in New York?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
and I
she
was
had a
like,
layover
I was
at
looking at like
LaGuardia.
how much it would be to Uber out of New York, like out of the what's the airport called?
LaGuardia.
Yeah. LaGuardia Airport to like go. And it was just by the time I would have got a cab, it was like a 20, 30. Well, actually, it might have been an hour. It was an hour drive there and then an hour drive back. And I only had like an hour and a half. Well, I had, I think, a 2.5 hour layover.
It would have been close.
I was in
I
LaGuardia
win.
just crying.
We'll let the people vote.
We'll let the people decide. I wish we could do like I wish this was alive. We could do an
know.
interactive
I know,
poll.
right?
Active heart. You know when you get on those lives? Anyways, but all that to say, you think Noah, his personality, like knowing who he is, he would be like, yeah, like I'm just down to party, man. Like whatever, like let's do it. Let's go to New York. What the heck? Who cares?
Yeah.
It's memories. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not me.
You tend to be very pretty like organized and structured in terms of like schedule.
Yeah, if I'm gonna go somewhere,
Oh
I've
my
got
God,
a
it's
certain
ridiculous.
time
He's like,
I'm
no,
be.
we're gonna stop at this McDonald's at 12:45 because they had this Coke and this Coke lasts longer than those Cokes, and so we're gonna do that. There were times he was like, we're gonna get to a certain spot where we have to stop at this gas station. Even if I don't have all the gas, I'm gonna refill, or I'm just gonna top up my gas, and then we're gonna keep going. It was like that.
Well, I know certain cities that are gonna offer us more food, more.
Sure.
You know.
And I understand.
Sorry, I'm prepared.
No, here's the thing, because I'm actually pretty type A. Like in my daily life, like I'm a lot more structured than people would think. But the trip was already not structured.
Sure.
I bought my plane ticket on a Tuesday. Me and Bailey, Noah's wife, my sister-in-law, had to drive to Atlanta on a Wednesday. Stay there the whole day because I had to get like a fast pass passport renewal.
Ooh.
Right.
Yeah, fast. And then literally Thursday and Friday, we were like all prepping for the trip, trying to figure out like what we needed. Plus I was flying. So I was having to pack to drive and then pack to fly to make sure that I could do both.
Sure.
So like the whole week was chaos. So it was already kind of like just this unplanned.
I had everything planned.
But it was like,
for me, it was great.
no, like I just put that in my head that like this trip is not going to be like a structured, we've planned this trip for 6 months.
In her head.
This is just going to be.
Guess what? We all don't live in Abby's head. So good breaking news. We are in the real world, not in Abby's head. Anyways, I'm right.
Whatever. It is what it is. But turns out Noah's not a party girl. Breaking news.
I have to pee.
All
right, let's get into some segments. Our first segment's a bit of a juicy one. This is called.
Mine's just like. It looks like a giraffe.
We ate some candy in between. This first segment is called How Hairy Do You Think Brian's Chest Is? We're gonna ask you.
We put all his hairs in a jar, and you have to
We
guess
put all
how
his
many.
hairs in a jar. And we want you to count how many hairs
like
you
the
think it
jelly bean
is.
game. Oh my god.
He looks like Rufus from Kim Possible right now. We have completely shaved his chest. No. First segment, explainer. We have been doing Abbey, which Abbey has failed miserably at.
I've actually slayed. So
Someone
I've
said
heard
the other
from.
day, someone said the other day, they were like, you gave Abby so much credit for Lord of the Rings, and it was so bad.
My mom literally said, she was like, that
And
was
she's hardly
pretty
ever-
much it.
No, she's hardly even seen them.
My mom's my biggest fan.
Okay. So, this week, instead of Abby, our explainer is going to be with Brian.
And what you guys are about to hear him explain is one, going to be shocking because I know he's going to get it wrong. Two, is going to be shocking because you're going to go, wait, Brian was judging you for not watching Star Wars, but he's never seen this?
Yeah.
That's what's going to go through
So
your
we
head.
have found out that Brian has never seen any of the Twilight films. Never read the book, never seen a movie. So here we go. This is Brian Hess. Let me get in the camera. This is Brian Hess explaining Twilight.
Okay. I think I'm gonna nail this.
I'm honestly, go ahead.
So here's what I know just based off of, because like, so going back to what we said earlier, if something doesn't interest me, I'm not gonna even pretend.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Twilight doesn't interest me. So like I've never even talked to anybody about Twilight, you know?
Okay.
But just through time, just watching
I've kind of
shows,
forced it on you.
There have been just references. So I know
Well,
like,
that's kind of how she was with Lord of the
yeah,
Rings.
so I know like Jacob and Edward, like I know those names.
Yeah,
Right?
you do.
Yes.
Did I get those? Okay.
You did.
So here we go.
I don't like that you said Jacob and
We
Edward
want the
because it's
plot
Edward
from
and Jacob,
beginning
but whatever.
to end through the 3 books and the 4 films.
Okay. So it's centered primarily around Jacob and Edward. And these two guys are, well, they're vampires. Not
Okay.
They're these two guys and they're vampires.
Okay.
I want to
And-
correct you so bad.
and
Keep going.
Keep going.
And I don't know if everybody knows that they're vampires, if this is like a secret society type thing, or if this is like a
Okay.
if this is like a world where like everybody knows that like vampires exist, like it's a very, you know.
Okay.
And so I think it may be kind of like like a small kind of like secret society type. Like there's this like group of
only a
of
few people know
people-
that. Only vampires know that there's vampires.
yeah. And
Don't
if you
give
don't
too
know,
much.
everyone else is just kind of living in the world like we are, you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
And there's a love interest.
What's her name?
I want to say Bella.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Good
Yeah,
job.
that's it.
Okay.
Brian's like literally acting like he's never seen this. He literally watched all of them multiple times.
He has all of
He's
them.
like, I want to say Bella, is it?
So, and it's throughout the whole thing, it's just kind of this like love triangle drama type thing between the three of them.
Okay.
And so, and it's very like back and forth because at times she's like way into Jacob,
Okay.
and then but he's kind of like a stray cat, like you just can't tame the guy, you know. So,
Okay.
and so in the end, she ends up with, I think she probably ends up with Edward
Okay.
because he just seems like a more like a reasonable like mate,
Sure.
Okay.
you know. And so there's like, and I think like they're in high school at times, and so like they're young, and so there's that element too of like the teen drama type of thing, but like add in that they're vampires, and it kind of affects like every aspect of their life, you know.
Okay.
And
Brian's like, there must be a little more to the
there's got
plot.
to be more to the plot than that. How am I doing so far?
Not great.
Not great.
Not great. Not great at all.
Because there's things you're missing that make more movies. Like that's why you're getting stumped, is because there's things about these characters that you don't know that's
Yeah.
making you be like, what else could there
I don't
possibly
know.
be?
I don't think there's a lot of depth there. I think I think the whole thing's pretty
You think you've
shallow. And
nailed
I
it?
think
What do you like where does the plot the plot take us? Like what's the
Yeah, like what's the
end?
goal of this?
What's the goal?
Series?
What's the end of it? Here, like where's
So
it?
here's something I've never thought about. Like who's like the antagonist?
Okay.
I've not even thought about that.
Yeah.
And so like is like some would say like is Jacob the antagonist?
The more cinematic mind would say, is Jacob been the antagonist the whole time?
Who is the main character in this
Yeah.
film?
Wait, which is Jacob
Once
What's
we
the
start.
actor?
we
Yeah, once
can't.
we start explaining
Taylor
it,
Lautner.
it's all over.
Taylor Lautner. That's who I thought.
Yeah,
That's what I
Taylor
thought with
Lautner.
Jacob. Okay.
So what's the end? What's the end result?
Like, what's the goal of
Well-
all this coming?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like a romantic like drama, you know. At the end of the
Yeah.
day,
Okay.
so it's not like it's not like an action film, you know. It's not. There's not a lot of action. It's a lot of like,
That's interesting.
and again, like to the layman, sure. It's not action as some would define.
You have
it.
to understand.
Okay.
You had to see like Woody Allen films to really get Twilight.
Like if you're not watching, oh shoot, what's his name? I was gonna make a reference. Anderson.
Wes Anderson.
Wes Anderson. If
If you're not watching Wes Anderson films,
you're
you're
not gonna get it.
never gonna get it.
No, so I mean, it's very like,
Are you tapped?
yeah. I don't really, because I can't even imagine
Okay.
a plot.
So here's the actual plot.
Should we tell the plot?
Yeah, I
So
think-
what if people haven't seen it and they want to watch it?
Well, then you need
Well,
to turn
again,
off
like
the
at this point, yeah.
turn off the freaking podcast.
Okay.
So the plot is that a young girl named Bella ends up leaving her, and I'm a. It's been a long time since
want me
I've
to
read
do
the
it?
books. No, I'll do
Okay.
it.
It's fresh on my mind.
and then you fill in
Okay.
gaps.
She lives in Arizona with her mom.
A young girl named Bella lives in Arizona and ends up through circumstance moving in with her father in Washington.
Yeah, her stepdad's
Washington
like a
State.
baseball coach, so they're traveling for
I think
sports. He's like a
her stepdad.
yeah. So I said her stepdad
No,
is
you
like
said her
a
dad. That's what I'm saying. You
No, I
need
said
to
her
kinda build
stepdad.
the map, man.
okay.
So she ends up moving with her dad in the state of Washington.
Okay.
And going to school there. While she goes to school, she notices this weird, like, kind of eclectic, eccentric, pale boy Edward.
It's a group.
Okay.
There's
It's
a group of them.
It's a family of brothers and sisters. Their names are the Cullens. and they're all like very odd. They're in high school. They're very like wealthy and very different.
And they like always keep to themselves. They
and
don't
Edward
seem to...
can't stop staring at her.
Okay.
And so it ends up being that, yes, they are vampires and that she begins falling in love with Edward. So her dad's best friend is a police officer. They're both cops.
He's retired. No, he's not. He's retired if he is.
I thought he was a police officer, though.
No, he's in a wheelchair.
Was I right that like it's kind of a secret that like they're vampires?
Yes. So
Yeah, it is.
It is. And so, but the dad's best friend is a Native American, and his son is Jacob.
And they're part of like a tribe.
The huge
like
thing you got wrong is that Jacob's a werewolf. Jacob's whole family is werewolves.
He's a werewolf.
because they're part of a reserve.
They're
like
part of the Native American. They like are part of the original protectors
of like their land.
So the big issue is vampires and werewolves.
Gotcha.
And so they made a pact years ago that like there would be a line throughout like the state or whatever, and that no vampires could pass into
This
the
side.
territory without being hunted, and vice versa.
And vice versa. And so Jacob and his family are all werewolves. And so what happens is
And werewolves can smell vampires.
Edward in the
So Jacob knows as Edward comes around that he's a vampire.
Yeah. And so Bella and Jacob are friends because their dads are friends. And so
they grew
Edward
up together.
eventually rejects Bella, saying, it's not good for me to be with you because I don't want to make you a vampire. Like Edward's whole thing is you're not going to become a vampire.
Yeah, like this
I
is just
don't
going to
want this
cause you
life for
danger in your life.
So he leaves, and when
'Cause
he
he's
leaves,
a bad boy.
Bella becomes super close with Jacob, and Jacob falls in love with Bella, but Bella really never loves Jacob. She really only loves Edward.
I think she loves Jacob in a nostalgic
Like family.
sense. But I think she loves Edward in like a futuristic sense.
And so, but there is a secret like council of vampires that kind of run the vampires of the world, like kind of set the rules.
And they live
stuff.
in Romania.
And so they find out about Edward and Bella.
They find out that through this process of like love and whatever, that Edward has taken it upon himself to turn Bella. And not only did Bella turn, but the rule is like the actual system to vampires is that when you turn, you can no longer have children. So like your body can't produce kids anymore.
Is dead.
Okay.
So what happened was they got married before Edward turned Bella.
But he wasn't going to turn her.
He wasn't going
The
to.
only reason he turned her was because she gets pregnant.
With a vampire baby.
Because it's a vampire baby, it's going to kill her.
So the only way to save her.
He has to turn her. But they're scared of this baby because of the way it's made. It's like some type of like almost.
They've never had this happen before.
this
They've
happen
only had
before.
children turn and
So
not be
the
born.
council decides that we're going to have to kill all of them.
So like this council in Romania hears about this, and they end up like hunting
And
this
so-
whole family down to
And so the
kill
final
everyone.
one is an
You're
action
eating this
film.
up.
The
Don't even
final
lie.
one is an action film because there's like a war.
Really?
But what's crazy is what werewolves do with people is when they fall in love with someone, they do what's called imprinting.
This is weird.
This is weird, but it's in the film. And when a werewolf imprints, they will if they imprint with someone younger than them, they will actually genetically stop aging until that person becomes their age. And Jacob actually ends up imprinting with Bella's daughter.
But there's like this weird thing that the whole reason that Jacob has loved Bella is because he's loved her like future child.
Yes.
And that's
so
why he's been,
now
like,
Jacob will
obsessive of
stop
her.
aging until Bella's daughter becomes of age to be with Jacob.
Because she's a vampire, she will rapidly age. So
even
like
if she
within
didn't.
a couple months, she's like a year old.
Yeah.
And then a couple months, she's like 2. So they kind of, it's like this weird thing that they have where it's like she just rapidly.
So it ends with them like,
Fighting this, like-
fighting this war and then living together, and all the Cullens like kind of live their life. There's a kind of some twists in there I won't give you, but and so they end up living their life, and Jacob ends up with the baby, and they all end up kind of living like in some way like a happily ever twisted after.
Yeah. Because there's also a lot of dynamics. Like her dad's in the mix of it. He's just a normal guy.
He doesn't understand, and like her thing is, once I marry you, I'm never allowed to be with my family again because they could be hurt or they
can be
they'll
hunted.
age and die, and I will never age and die, and so like there's all these like weird dynamics because of this.
But the first movie, mostly, it is about Bella and Edward, but the whole reason that the conversation gets started about vampires is because when she moves to Washington with her dad, because her dad's a police officer, she starts to hear about all of these like tragic deaths that are happening within like Washington, or that little, what is it called? Forks is like the place. Okay. So they start hearing about like all these tragic deaths of like people like being on their boats, fishing and stuff, and then just like dropping dead. And it's like these animal attacks. So you kind of get that layer of it of like her dad trying to be like, all these animal attacks keep happening. And then she starts to realize through time with Edward that these are not animal attacks, that there's vampires out there that have been hunting like innocent people. So that's kind of the first like layer of like why the movie's even structured is for the love interest, but then also so that Edward can like fight against these people who are in Forks killing innocent people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty much what I said.
So like same thing.
Brian's like, there's this three-way
Brian's literally
battle.
like, this is awful. Where can I watch Twilight?
Where is it streaming?
Yeah, the big thing was that like Jacob's family's werewolves. I'm shocked you didn't know that.
Now that you say that, I think, oh, I've heard that before.
Yeah.
And it's also like the big thing between them was like you were either Team Jacob or Team Edward because they were literally polar opposites.
Werewolves,
Edward is like
vampires.
pale, cold, you know.
Jacob's like, and like there's one
Jacob's, like,
moment
warm,
where
dark,
they're
like,
stuck
he's
on
got-
a mountain. They're together, just the three of them, Edward, Jacob, and Bella, and it starts snowing, and Bella's like freezing to death. She's gonna die, and so Jacob, because he gives off so much heat, and Edward doesn't have any heat because he's dead. He has to go in there and like spoon Ella
I like these
or Bella for the night. Spoon Bella for the night
To, like, keep her warm.
alive, and like
And
Edward
Edward's,
just
like,
has to sit
outside the
outside
tent,
the tent and just like like fiending.
Oh, and that's the reason that Edward was originally interested in Bella. So in the very beginning, this is what Noah missed. The reason that he's so obsessed with her at school is because Edward has the gift of being every vampire has like a gift. So like his sister can see in the future. His brother's like extra fast. Like they all have
Good at stock
something.
exchange. I'm kidding. One of them with woodworking.
Edward's gift is that he can read people's minds. And for some reason, when Bella comes into town, he can't read her mind. So he becomes a little bit like obsessive with trying to figure out why this is the one person that he can't like crack the case.
Yeah.
So he starts like
becomes the one person he wants because he knows that
it's the
it
one
can
thing
be a
he
mystery.
can't have.
Right.
It's a mystery.
Yeah.
So he's like asking
So
all
here's
these
what's
questions.
crazy.
What?
We've had 3 explainers and 3 massive Fs.
What's a movie that I'm trying to think of even a movie you haven't seen.
I've tried to think about that for this segment. I can't think
Have
of
you
anything.
seen this To All the Boys I've Loved Before series?
No, but like I don't even have like a point of reference.
It needs to be something people have heard
Yeah,
of.
somebody. Yeah, I mean that's a pretty
I can't
popular.
think of-
That's a pretty popular movie series.
I can't
Brian.
think of anything. Like I've never seen Gilmore Girls, but I'm pretty sure I could nail that.
Well, guys, stay tuned because that's gonna be
Maybe
next.
next episode.
Next
We'll
week,
get into that.
I think everyone will get mad because I'm going to nail it. All right, let's move into our next segment, which is masterpieces. Hit the video. All right, masterpiece time. Who are we starting with?
We can start with mine because mine's not really meant to be funny. This is just so satisfying.
You know what's weird? Mine's
I
not
don't-
funny today.
Well, and I don't have a problem with that. I think a masterpiece is just
I
something.
think a
that's
masterpiece is a
well-crafted.
well-crafted
this is
video.
a masterpiece. When I say, here's the thing. For me, a masterpiece is something that this is one of the levels, one of the layers, something that I could sit and watch like hours of. Like, you know those accounts where it's like, I found something and they have like hundreds, like I do like the What I Eat in a Days. Like I eat that up. I could watch those all day long. This is one of those things I could watch all day long. It's a girl who or guy, one of them, lives in a dorm and she makes food in her dorm that like you can't make because like you don't have like ovens and stuff.
Ooh,
And it is so satisfying.
let's
Watch
go.
there we
this.
go.
Lasagna in my room.
I don't love that noise.
Keep in mind, and I think she's laying in her bed
I
doing
was about to say,
this.
she did this on her lap?
Yes.
Man, she is layering that thing. What?
Whoa.
Is that not the most fun thing you've ever seen? Can you imagine? She just made an entire lasagna sitting in her bed watching TV on her computer.
Is incredible.
Guys, this is the future.
What kind of pot was?
I think it's.
Because it wasn't on like an actual like hot plate or anything.
It looked like one of those.
just the
It looked
pot
like a rice
itself.
the
maker.
pot. No, if you look at the pot, the handle has a dial.
So it's an
So
electric.
I think
pot.
it's an electric pot.
So she was able to like cook everything like it was a
Yeah,
stove.
it heats
Yeah.
itself up. Oh
Is
my
that not
gosh.
insane? I love.
That's
Nothing
the
makes me
answer to
happier
the energy crisis.
than videos like
electric
that.
pots.
I can't believe she made a lasagna and she never left her bed.
Can you
know.
imagine thinking like I could make a whole cup of ramen right now, or I could make a lasagna.
Right.
And that's like a 7-layer lasagna.
I could crack open a Chef Boyardee or
Or I could
make.
make a Chef Boyardee.
wow.
Yeah,
Should we do? That's amazing.
I know.
Should we do you or me? Mine's more informational. Do we want to end with funny?
Let's do yours.
Okay. So before we get to mine, here's the question I think most people are wondering.
Which
I
means they're
think
not.
I think people think of this every day. Where is most of the open defecation taking place in the world? If people are pooping and peeing,
I
if
hate
people
this
are
question.
pooping and peeing, just where they're standing, where they are in the open, where is that taking place? What is the stats on that? I've got them. Here you go. This is a TED Talk.
If this circle represents all of the open defecation that happens in the world, this is the fraction that happens in India. And this is the fraction that happens only in rural India. 65% of rural Indians defecate in the open. So what that means is that most of the open defecation that happens in the world happens in rural India, and most rural Indians defecate in the open. Every day, 500 million people in villages in India go in the fields rather than use a toilet or a latrine. That's bigger than the population of the United States.
So here's what I want you to think about. More people poop in the streets in India than there are people in America.
Is she pro or anti open
I'm pretty
defecation?
sure she's anti-open
What's it called?
defecation.
Defecation?
Did you see the comments? That was the first comment up there. It was like, I can't tell if she's pro or anti.
I don't know what the point of that was. It was
I
it was
think
she
it was
saying
to
like
say,
it's,
like, we've got to train these people that you can't poop and pee wherever you're standing.
Or maybe she was saying like the rest of the world needs to catch up.
Everyone's
This
like,
is the way.
guys, you're using toilet paper and bathrooms and poopery.
Can you imagine sometimes though, like being in fields where hundreds of workers are doing something, or being in like wherever it is that like if you're doing any outside
Well, there's
jobs?
like towns in India. That's not even. There's towns in India where people are like walking like an animal down the street, and then there's just like poop following them. They're just pooping.
The animal.
No, the person, not the animal. The person.
Here's the thing: as somebody who has serious poop anxiety and who can't even poop in a public restroom, us just all hanging outside of me being like, "Hey guys, I gotta go real quick," and I just pull over to the side of like I'm just taking a couple steps over in the yard.
Could you imagine if we're doing chin whackers and I was like, hold on. yeah, no, for sure. We should have went to Bomb Bombs.
Wow.
65% of open defecation in the country, in the world, is done in India. And every time,
Where is it
that-
done here though? Where's the other part though? If it's 65% of it, where's the other?
I would say a big piece has to be like,
There's a good bit in San Francisco.
yeah, San Francisco and New
New
York.
York.
We just had friends go to New York City.
Seriously?
We just had friends go to New York City, and their son stepped on a human turd on the subway. Like they're walking on the subway. It's just like human turd.
Somebody's like, got him.
Got him.
On the bright side, though, he's got a story to tell for the rest of his life. So.
There's a homeless guy like, welcome back to Poop Cam. I think I've got another one.
Another one.
That is crazy.
Is that not insane? 65%.
Wow.
And people just do it like
I guess
as they're
that's true.
walking.
I've never really thought about that. That's probably my own like ignorance. Like thinking about like homeless people.
They say that
Obviously not having a place
They said
to-
too that most of the tikka masala is made with open defecation.
Don't ruin that for
you're
me.
so jealous.
You know that's because that's my
we love
favorite
Indian
dish.
food.
Indian food is not.
Okay, so
I love it.
So mine is a masterpiece, and I'll say this that this guy has kind of cultivated something that is a new
skill.
A new skill.
Yeah.
And so this guy is introducing a sport, you could call it.
Okay.
And I venture to say that he's probably the best in the world at this sport. So let's go ahead.
All right.
Hand wrestling, okay. And you've been doing this for a while?
Yeah,
Right?
about a month or two.
So your hands wrestle one another, and you don't know which one's going to win when you do this, right?
I put my mind elsewhere, and I let my hands decide who's going to dominate.
Wow. All right, well, please, let's see this. This sounds very engaging. Now, does the right often win?
Usually it's the left one because I'm left-handed.
Oh, you are? So the left has an advantage.
Yeah.
I guess. Okay.
Just luck.
Now.
Somebody says he has no business being out of breath.
I need a couple of these. Hold on. I need a couple of these comments. Okay, let's see here. Let's
I want
see.
more of this show.
When your toddler says, "Look what I can do."
Keep scrolling.
Someone said the fact that I sat and watched this.
Somebody said, I'm concerned. I'm concerned.
I'm
Wait,
beginning to become a little concerned that my algorithm feels that this is what I'm most interested in. Here's the thing. For a sec, I thought like he was going to like have them like
I really thought the left was going to win.
no, but like I thought it was going to be more like of a like intense like crossing fingers, high end form of wrestling.
No. More of like a street style kind of brawl, you know? Not
Cowboys.
More of like it's more like UFC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were looking for like an organized, you know, there were rules to this fight.
Why?
This is like Krav Maga.
No rules.
This is like high end stuff.
And the thing is, like, this guy doesn't know who's gonna win. He puts his mind elsewhere.
He's like totally, and then he goes like, "Can you believe that?" He's like, "I had no clue. It was a total toss up for me." The guy puts money on. He's like, I hardly win. I'm losing money on these fights." Well, for those
So there you go.
who are watching, by Friday we will be into 2025.
Happy New Year.
Woo,
Happy New Year! It's a brand new year, brand new us. Brian has finished his like full first round of Ozempic. If you can't tell, He's
Comment down below if you want Brian to shave his beard.
Yes, that's what we're talking about right now. Is can we get Brian? I'll tell you this.
If you guys donate $65,000.
No. Here's what we'll do. If you can find a way to get us to 10,000 subs on YouTube this year, 2025, 10,000 subs, Brian will shave that beard. Brian will 100% shave that beard if you get us there. You've got to get us there. Also, if you're watching this, you should subscribe to the YouTube channel. You should like the video. That helps us a ton.
Yeah.
It helps us because this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. No, I'm just kidding. But it could be if you'll help us.
sponsor us.
If you'll help us. Before we go, is there any New Year's things? New Year's, you said was your favorite holiday.
It's one of my favorite times of the year. It's a party. It's New Year's Eve and I'm electric.
Yeah, it's New Year's
so
Eve.
excited.
We're recording this on New Year's Eve today.
My oldest brother is just having like the family, just like anyone, you know, wants to come over to have some appetizers and hang out. And if he hadn't texted that, I almost might not even know that tonight was New Year's.
Oh my God.
This is, guys, cut the cameras.
Ryan is like the most wet napkin.
Honestly, I'd probably go home.
What?
Brian's like, guys, is Bill Clinton still president? What's going on out there? That is insane. You're just not a fan.
We just don't really.
You know, Netflix now.
Brian's like, we just don't really
Yeah, it's
celebrate
like,
anything.
I don't even have time.
Brian's like, we celebrate so much, we don't even get the chance to
Brian's
celebrate.
like, we really celebrate Arbor Day. That's
Here's
kind
the
of
thing,
a big
though.
one.
When you celebrate New Year's all year long, it's like, do you really need a day?
It's like Valentine's Day.
Like, I celebrate New Year's every day.
Every day is like a new year for me. You know what's really cool? Netflix now has a like countdown show.
I saw that.
You can start any time for your little so they can go to bed.
Oh, so you can be like, oh, it's almost midnight.
Yeah,
and
3, 2, 1.
Go to bed.
So I think we're about out of time, but New Year's is here. Happy New Year's from me and Abby. Don't
Not
really know what's
Brian.
going on with Brian. Couldn't
Brian's
really
like,
tell
Merry
you.
Christmas, everyone.
Brian's like, Happy Easter, everybody. But we'll see you next week. 1, 2, 3. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Hey, you did it.